Welcome to Crossroads Callings. I am your host, Chimere Brown, and this is a podcast dedicated to navigating life's pivots and discovering a pathway to true purpose and calling. Today, I am in a very special place with a very special person. Morgan Nicole Martin is a wellness educator, speaker, fitness instructor, and all the things. She is also the founder of Live and Believe Wellness Center, where we have the pleasure of recording today.
Yes.
I look forward to you guys seeing some of the footage of what her and her team does, but just a beautiful place.
Thank you.
Beautiful environment. The energy is good and welcoming. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Yes, in your sanctuary with you.
In my sanctuary. This is literally like home away from home.
Yeah. You could definitely feel it when you walk in the room.
Yep.
It is located here in the Chicago South Side, specifically the Beverly area.
Yeah.
Definitely pay them a visit, but just a little bit more about Morgan. She partners with Chicago Public Schools. She leads women transformation workouts, which you'll see a little later on in the show. But most importantly, Morgan has an amazing story of just resilience. She's navigated loss, body image issues, and she even had the wisdom to just know when to pause.
Yeah.
And I really look forward to kind of deep diving into that, because that takes a lot of courage, just bravery.
Yeah.
Of saying like, just I need a breath.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think honestly in life, like I've always been a go person. I feel like I tell people, I feel like I've been busy since I was 5 years old. I was a person that was in every sport, everything. Yeah. God bless my parents who just always gave my brother and I an outlet to be able to do everything. So my auto mode is go. Mm-hmm. My auto mode is masculine. My auto mode is get it done. My auto mode is go. And so for me, so many of the crossroads of my life were forced pauses, where now I'm in this space of like, how do we start to cultivate pause where we choose to pause versus when we are forced to pause. And so that's really been such a great growth moment for me across the board.
Yeah, choosing to pause.
Choosing to pause.
So it sounds like Morgan is ready to get into her interview. She's dropping gems already. I haven't even asked a question. This is just the warm up. This is the breathe and repeat, okay?
That part.
But she's already ready, and I hope you guys are too, because Crossroads and Callings, it starts now. So we're here in Live and Believe.
Yeah.
Like I said, beautiful space, great class. I was speaking to you earlier about how it seems like all of your patrons and your customers are just in tune and locked in for the workout and the long haul, but you didn't start here.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, so you mentioned being in LA.
Yeah.
Teaching dance, fit, and walk.
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah, so honestly, I lived out in Los Angeles, and a great mentor of mine, actor Richard Lawson. Some of y'all may see him in Beauty in Black and all the things. He genuinely was one of those solid rock people for me. And we honestly were just on this natural journey of like, yeah, we want to find a fun way to like work out. And so in LA, there's the Rose Bowl, where you can go and you can walk around the park. And so, but we like to dance. So we're like, okay. So we would literally, it started off with like a backpack with music, and we would like play music and do dance routines literally as you're walking. So you're walking 3 miles, but imagine like a dance class on the go. That's what Dance Fit Walk was.
It reminds me of carnival.
Yes. And so little by little, it was like more, we felt like we were like the Pied Piper of like dance fitness, because literally we would turn around and there were like people that were behind us. So then we're like, this is kind of a thing. It went from a backpack with music to a whole system, and we would literally meet in the park every Saturday in the morning, and we would literally dance fit walk. And for me, the first time we actually did it in an intentional way, it kind of just fell into place. But the first time we actually did it, where we like invited people to actually come to make it a class, we cultivated, we studied, we did all like the science behind like what's operating in different capacities. I remember having my first moment. I remember literally when we were done, I remember sitting in the car and honestly having this aha moment of like, there's something that tugs at your heartstrings. Like, yeah. I watched people that didn't think they could do certain things start to step into it. I'm an entertainer by nature. I've done dancing and acting and all the things. So much of that felt like entertainment, because you're like leading the people, you're encouraging them, you're moving them along. There's a sense of community. I love music. And when you have those moments where you're like, there's something to this feeling, I knew that I wanted to do something in my life that kept that feeling within me, even if it shifted into kind of like what we have now.
Yeah, tell me about that time. Because you're not from LA.
No, I'm actually from Cincinnati.
And then you made it to LA. What was that transition?
Yeah, so I went to U of I. Shout out to all my alumni. I cheered for University of Illinois, all the things. So when I graduated, I had moved to Chicago. I actually had gotten a job with the Big Ten Network. My major was broadcast journalism. Mm-hmm. And it was a season when people were coming out of college, people weren't getting jobs and opportunities right away. And for me to have gotten an opportunity and not feel super excited about it, mm-hmm. I knew there was something more. And so I always knew that I wanted to do something in, whether it be entertainment, movement, fitness, something. And so I had family in LA, and I remember telling my parents, like, this is my season to step out for a moment. So went out to Los Angeles, and that's honestly where I connected with Richard, specifically actually on the acting side of things. That's a whole nother world of my life.
Yeah.
But it developed into, God used that path to lead me to this path, and you just never know where things end up taking you.
Have you been in wellness and fitness ever since that moment?
Ever since that moment, in different capacities, mm-hmm. Figuring things out. And it's been one of those things where I didn't even realize how naturally ingrained in me it was for so many years, just because I've been an athlete, I've mm-hmm. been a dancer, I've been all the things. So a lot of these things we naturally kind of learn, but like really taking the time to actually sit and like study and learn and understand and like how the body works and like understanding your nervous system and like finding ways to make workout, I don't even want to say fun, but challenging.
Yeah.
You're not always going to have, everything's not going to be, I tell people still to this day, I'm not that person that you'll see me wake up early in the morning and lifting the weights and doing the things, but I'm not that girl that gets excited to do it. Yeah. I do it because you never regret the workout that you show up for. You will regret the one that you don't.
Yeah. Richard Larson.
Yes.
You talking about Beyonce's mama, ex-husband, Richard Larson?
Yes, that Richard Larson.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's and how did you guys get connected? Just
so
community?
Yeah, community. Gosh, a friend of my mom's actually was either his makeup artist or something along the line. So she connected and she said, "Man, like there's when I moved out to Los Angeles, especially when I was trying to figure out like my role in the entertainment world." She said, "Richard Lawson has a studio. I've heard great things. You should take your daughter." And I went, and LA is funny. You know what I mean? Like
it's a different world.
It's different. It's funny business. It's you don't know who's real and who's not. And he was one of those people that genuinely felt like this man is gonna have my back. And I mean, pretty much I was out in LA for almost 4 or 5 years. We're still connected to this day. He has just been such a pillar. He's a phenomenal, not only actor, but he's such a great educator. And even being in his classes, we did something called the Doing, which is he called the Declaration of Independence, which basically is you writing and mapping out your goals for yourself. What do you see? What are your long-term, your short-term, your all those type of goals? And I still tell him to this day, I said, I may not be really big in the acting world, but the things that man taught me in terms of manifestation, in terms of vision, in terms of really navigating your own world and space and really seeing what you want for yourself and putting those things into place. It's so much of like what I still do today and what I even teach the women and the teens that we work with.
Were there any visions that you wrote down at that point that you're currently living today?
Yeah, you know, for me, one of the things that was a big pillar for me was I just wanted to be in spaces where I always wanted to make people feel better. I always wanted to, and that can come in so many different avenues. Acting was that for me. Like, I loved theater in the sense of like, there's nothing better than being on a stage and feeling the energy and the pulse back from people. That's what I do now in this class. Like, literally, I know when I give it my all, they give it their all back.
It was definitely
it's an energy exchange.
100%. That you can definitely feel. And even those that you can tell when people like another song, yeah, we got to do this again. But when you show up, they matched your energy. And then they almost got the strength to continue the class.
And vice versa. Like, this is my thing. I've learned to really be open, honest, and vulnerable with my people. Like, I'll come in, I'll be like, y'all, I'm not going to lie. I don't got it today. So I need you to show up for me. And we exchange energy. And then by the end, the goal is to get everybody to a place where you will fully release. And so I think sometimes, whether it be in the wellness industry or just period, there can feel like this pressure of like, you always have to be on. Yeah. You always have to be the healthiest person in the room, the best fit, the most energetic. Yeah. Your energy has to be. And I used to carry that, and it was draining. It's draining to always feel like you have to always be the person showing up. And
how did you free yourself from that?
A lot of different, burnout will get you there. Burnout will get you to a place where you don't enjoy the things that you're doing.
Say that again, because people don't understand how impactful burnout is and will really sit you completely down.
Sit you completely down.
Yeah.
It's a complete burnout. And especially when you get to a point where like, you know, like, I know I enjoy this. Like, I know this is purposeful work. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But when you get to a point where you don't even enjoy the things that you know you're being called to do, something isn't right. And so for me, I have such great circle of people around me. And you guys met some of them, Pat and Whitney, and I have a phenomenal parents and my best friend Victoria, and like just circle of people who are willing to call you out when you're doing the most or doing too much, because sometimes you don't recognize it in yourself. And I just think that's important. It's important.
How did you build a team that you trusted enough to be vulnerable with?
Yeah.
And to trust that when they show you a mirror of yourself, like, Morgan, maybe you should chill. Like, how did you kind of be in the headspace to even receive some of that feedback? Because you're a leader. You found it. This is your baby.
Yeah.
And they partnered with you in your vision. Yeah. And to get that feedback, sometimes people can be very prideful and not receive. But you seem very receptive to that.
I think for me, and I wasn't always like that, I think I carried the weight of so much on my shoulders and didn't always share. You know, anybody that builds anything, any entrepreneurs, you know, there are ups and downs. There are times when things are like phenomenal, and there are times where it's like, why am I doing this again? Like, what did I choose? And so those moments I would often hide and keep to myself. Mm-hmm. So I would go home carrying the weight of like, okay, this is not feeling right. Okay, wait a minute. The math isn't mathing anymore. This isn't. And so I got to a point where I just remember having this feeling of like, you have phenomenal people around you that don't even know how to help and support and be in certain spaces because you're not even allowing them the space to do so because they don't even know what's happening. Wow. And so I remember getting to a space where we had open, honest, vulnerable conversations across the board. So that way I could share and say like, hey, this is what's happening. This is what I'm feeling. Why didn't you say something? I know how to da-da-da. Or why, it's really delegating and finding those space and capacity. But I think for me, the perfectionist Morgan wanted to put on this thing that everything is always, like, we're good. Yeah. Everything is fine. Don't worry about it. I think life.
You're your parents' oldest daughter, right?
I'm my parents' oldest child.
In general. So do you think that's maybe part of it?
Yeah, I think that if I think back on my life, and especially across like just growing up, I was that. I'll double back. I had my 20-year high school reunion, and I totally forgot I was myself and somebody else was voted best all around. And when I think about that title, I'm like, that's exactly how I tried to carry myself. I wanted to be the best at everything. I was the cheerleader. I was the track runner. I was on, the theater. I was this. It was like I always wanted to have that. And honestly, I don't even think that was pressure from my parents, to be really honest with you.
Huh?
It was me. Because once you're on top, the fear of being anything other than the top feels like failure. So then to me, it was always like, oh, shoot, I won this race now. Okay, I have to always win.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm captain now. I have to always be in this position. So it was this weight that I honestly put on myself because to me, that's how people saw me. That's what people expected of me. And so it was, in fact, going back to Richard Lawson, we had a project I'll never forget called Assets and Liabilities, where you had to share something about yourself that could be viewed as an asset and also a liability. And I chose my smile. And I said, it's an asset because when you walk in a room, you smile, people are like, I like her. She's good. But it was my liability because I would smile as a mask of what I was really going through. So I learned.
Was it a mask or was it protection?
Both. It was both. It was not being in a space to be vulnerable enough to be seen. Yeah.
I want to talk about kind of how were you classically trained in wellness, or is this something because you mentioned that you taught yourself.
Yeah.
And that you studied.
Yeah.
Educational wise, it was journalism.
Yeah.
And then now you're completely a 360 detour, not 180 because you didn't go back.
Yeah.
Full-time in wellness.
Yeah.
Are you certified? Or is this something that you just imparted into yourself and you're just living in purpose?
A little bit of both. I think that our bodies and our minds we don't listen enough, right? You can read a book all day. Social media will tell you this fad, this thing, this whatever. But it's like sometimes you just got to pause and do a check-in of all those things. But I did really want to start to do more of a deep dive. So I did go and get my certification with the National Association of Sports Medicine, really learning and understanding not only the mind and body and movement, but also how to cultivate that amongst community and different people like that. And then over the course, it's like you're always learning because you're always in different phases. You're older now. What you used to do in your 20s is different and the women I serve are different. They're going through menopause, perimenopause, different things. So we talk about that even now. We're like, man, we really get to study and learn and cultivate even more so that we have more of those things across the board for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an ongoing thing.
I kind of figured because, like you said, there was a time where perimenopause and menopause wasn't spoken about at all.
Saying the word was like,
oh my God, how dare you?
Right.
And now the world is kind of opening up and being more receptive in general to all aspects of women's health.
Yeah.
So, of course, your care would evolve as the industry is evolving.
Yeah.
But what was your transition from LA? Because you said you were in LA for about 4 to 5 years.
Yes.
And then what was next for you? Did you continue your wellness journey thereafter?
Yeah, so there was another pause.
Okay.
My brother unexpectedly passed away in 2014. I was still living in Los Angeles at the time. And what's interesting is that literally the day before he passed, so right before he passed, I had personally gone on like a wellness journey for myself. And, I'll share more about it, but just really going through like battles within myself. And I knew that I really wanted to get on this phase. And my brother and I talked a lot. My brother, we're only a year and a half apart. So
almost
twins,
like twins.
Basically, at the end of the day. He was actually living in Chicago at the time, and I was in LA. And I was sharing with him about like just the journey that I'm going on and all these different things. And my brother was someone that battled with obesity on and off for a good majority of his life. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, if I can find a good flow. Like, we're going to be able to do this together. And so I remember calling him and my mom, and I said, look, we are going to really like get our health together.
Yeah.
And I have a Facebook post, and it said, the Martins are getting healthy and fit together. Like, just watch our journey. And literally the next day he passed away, unexpectedly from pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot to the lungs. And that was one of those forced pause moments, because I wasn't really active in health and wellness at the time. I actually was working for Samsung. I was
You was paying your bills.
I was paying my bills. I was in corporate America, but like I knew I had this inkling of something more for myself. But you do what you got to do, and I remember having that forced pause because it was the first time where nobody expected or needed anything from me, where I could just be still and sit. And so I tell people now, my brother passing was probably one of the worst and the best things that could have happened to me.
In what way?
Worse in the sense of like, he's my brother.
Yeah.
He's my best friend.
Yeah.
We're a year and a half apart. His birthday was actually yesterday.
Happy heavenly birthday.
And it was very unexpected. He was only 25. He was on the brink of so many phenomenal things. We had dreams and visions and things we're gonna do together. Like, it was literally like, there were days I felt like a 500-pound fat man was sitting on my chest because I just could not get up. Because in my mind, it's like, how can I have life when you took his?
Yeah.
It was just gut-wrenching. But the best thing in hindsight, and I try my best never to question God, it was the pause that I needed, my family needed, that stopped us in our tracks to really just take a look at like, what are we really doing with our lives? And so when that pause came, I came back to Chicago. My dad, who's never asked me to do anything in life, was like, our family is better when you're here. Would you consider staying?
Of course.
What do you say to that?
Yeah. So you packed your stuff.
I packed my stuff
to Chicago.
I moved to Chicago.
But you came back in grief.
Yeah.
How did you restore?
It was tough. I tell people, I feel like even the first couple years of being back here, even though I found my way to do different things, grief comes in waves.
Yeah.
So there were moments when I would be fine, and then there were moments where like I'd have a breakdown. There were moments I'd be fine and I'd have a breakdown. And I think I had to learn how to just allow myself to feel, not be so caught up in like figuring out life, but more so just allow myself to also tap back into me and my purpose and God, and surround myself with people that like loved and cared about me too. But then Live in Belief was birthed out of that. I say Live in Belief was really birthed from tragedy to triumph. Like it became my thing of like, man, I may not be able to have helped or been around with my brother, but now I have the opportunity to help so many other people.
How did you redirect your grief into this?
First, I have to say my family. When I tell you my parents and my grandmother, shout out to Grandma Shar, she's 94 years old, and she is just, she just all the things.
Yeah.
It was really like a labor of love and service. When it allowed me to stop focusing so much only on myself and allowed to be in the service of other people. And so when we started doing different things, especially with like the drum cardio and all that, we were in anywhere we could pop up. So we started cultivating in parks.
You told me that before we did the interview, that you guys would just find a space and somebody would look out for the police and
literally, because it's fine now because we made it through. But like we weren't having park permits and all the things. It was just like, oh, this is a cute area, and so people would come and like, specifically that class, because it's balls, buckets, and so it became a community thing. Like people are out there, we're pumping up balls with like literally by hand, but it became community. People would come early to class just to have that sense of like family, that sense of connection, to have that conversation, and then we would go right into class. We were literally popping up anywhere that would have us. I was renting space. back when it used to be Excess Tennis in Hyde Park.
Okay.
They had a dance studio there, so I started my very first class there, which is called Thrive Thursday, which are my dance cardio class, where we just act a fool and dance and leave it all on the floor. And then from there, it just became, hey, if anybody that knows spaces that want to have us, we come in. So we're popping up in churches, we're popping up in school, we're popping up wherever. But I just remember one day when we were consistently having classes outside, I kept having to cancel because God bless Chicago, you can only be outside for so long. It would rain, it started getting cold. And I just remember being like, I cannot keep giving these people something that they're looking forward to and always having to take it away. And I remember driving in my car one day in the rain of like, I've got to find us a space. And I would drive up and down areas looking for lease signs, not knowing what the heck I was doing. But that it just birthed from a real place of, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. Our people need a home, and then let's figure it out.
Were you still working a day job during this time?
Yeah, so at this time I was working because I had just moved back.
Yeah.
So I had paused my position when I was with Samsung. So I moved back to Chicago. I literally was like the person that had 500 million jobs. Anything you could think of at that time, I was doing, figuring out. I was working at LA Fitness. I was doing all those things. It was such a all over the place, which was so foreign for me because I was the syllabus girl, meaning I was a person that got good grades, probably not because I was super smart, but it was because they gave you a syllabus. The syllabus said, do this, 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 and this, and you're going to get an A.
Was it the order?
It was the order.
It
was like, job and stability and all those things was like, here, do this, this, and this, and you're going to have this. And it was the first time in my life where I had to really dig from something else because the blueprint wasn't laid out.
Yeah.
And then it cultivated into so many of the different things and partnering with our organizations.
Did people know that you were grieving as you were pouring into the fit dance community and creating these classes? Did they know what you were going through?
Oh, 100%. Because my brother, I always tell people, anybody that knows me is going to know Marcus.
Yeah.
So his pictures are all over in this space.
It is.
I talk about him in our classes. People that have never met him, they tell me all the time, they're like, I feel like I know your brother and I have never met him in my life. And so for me, even that was part of the healing journey and story because it was like, he's with me. He's still with me. He's present in everything that we do in every single space. So I think even that was a huge thing. I celebrate his life as I'm living mine.
Yeah. And then you said on Facebook before he passed that you said the Martins are going on a fitness journey.
Yeah.
So you bringing your brother with you.
Bringing my brother with me.
Are your parents still along for this ride and still joining?
Yeah, we have our ups and downs. I'll be getting on them, but my parents are phenomenal. They actually run the Martin NFL Youth Flag Football League. Honestly, in honor of my brother, over 200 youth, both girls and boys, at the Croc Center. So they're active not only in their own way in that capacity, because that's a whole thing.
That's a big service.
Yeah, but then also being able to teach it for the youth as well.
When did you get here? Because you said you were crying, you were driving around like you needed space.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm surprised you didn't break down and cry in that car because I would have had a good old cry while it rained. Because Chicago, like you said, you can have wonderful plans.
Yeah.
And then the weather will switch up on you.
Yeah.
What led you to this building here in the Beverly area? Yeah,
so honestly, at that point, we were a good friend of mine, Sheila Ann. Shout out to Sheila.
Shout out to Sheila.
When we were in this space of like just trying to find places to do the classes, we were actually in a park not too far from here, and that's where we had started. And so because we were kind of building community in the Beverly area already, because we were having classes, I kind of was like, okay, I could see this maybe being a good crossroads of like of where we could be. And so it was literally just starting to put out feelers, realtors, all the things, but I knew we wanted to kind of be in this area because it was so close to the group and the family and the community that we were already building and developing. So I remember when we actually opened up the space, which actually wasn't this space. Actually, it was in the same building, but a couple doors down.
Okay.
And I remember when we opened it, it was not done. There were no mirrors, there were no nothing. And I was like, okay, wait, guys, because I want to get it right. And they were like, it has 4 walls and a door and it's inside. Let's go. So when I tell you, like, the lab was literally being built as we were still doing it. And the same thing with this space. Like, everything has been cultivated with the community and the people in mind. Mind you, I'm the perfectionist.
Yes.
So to me, it was like, absolutely not. We don't have paint on the walls. We don't have this. They're like, we do not care. And I think it also helped remind me that, yes, you can have the most beautiful facility. You can have the best place. You can have the best 4 walls, building, whatever. But at the end of the day, it really is about the people. Yeah. It's about the community. It's about the connection, and it's about the heart. And they didn't care what that place looked like. They just wanted to be together. So it was a complete labor of love in that capacity.
And it probably changed your mind and perspective about things needing to be perfect.
Oh, 100%.
It's kind of like stripping that away from you.
Yeah.
And essentially, that's what your persona was originally based on.
Yeah, yeah.
I do want to stay there because another one of the crossroads that you mentioned is how you had the appearance of wellness.
Yeah.
But then you were dealing with anxiety and even an eating disorder at one point.
Yeah.
What did that stem from? And like, tell us about kind of the realization that those aspects of you needed, that wellness was both internal as well as external.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, it was one of those things, and it took me a while to even be able to be in a space to even share and talk about it, because it's shameful, right? Because again,
it can be.
You're seeing Perfect Morgan. Perfect Morgan looks fit on the outside. Perfect Morgan has good energy. Perfect Morgan shows up with a smile on her face everywhere she goes. Perfect Morgan has all of these things, but behind closed doors, I was battling and feeling the pressure of so many different things, and honestly, emotional eating. And, you know, even to be honest, like I was, and I didn't even have it, I just had this aha moment. I remember my brother and I having a conversation, and we both were actually dealing with very similar things in terms of emotional eating. Mm-hmm. The difference is he kept in, you could physically see his, mine was hidden, because I was either binging and purging. I was either not eating and then eating everything. I was emotionally eating just from stress and pressure and whatever of life, but I didn't want anybody to see or know or any of the things, because then it's visible, right?
Yeah.
Perfect Morgan isn't perfect anymore. And so it just became this thing that just was, it was shameful and it was hard to talk about, but I share it so much now because when I'm working with like clients and people, I always get the like, girl, you don't know because you've always been small, or you don't know because I said, yeah, outwardly, sure. But internally, I had a awareness moment. We were going through working with Richard, actually, we were going through this transformation process, and we all had to meet with nutritionists. Mm-hmm. And they go through this whole body scan, they go through all your things. And I remember the woman pulling me aside, and I'm like, okay. And she goes, are you okay? And I said, what do you mean? She said, how are your eating habits? Are you okay? Mind you, this is Fit Morgan on the outside.
Right.
And I said, yeah. Perfect Morgan, smiling. And she goes, your visceral fat, which is your internal fat, is over the obesity rate. Usually, that's an indication of someone doing harmful things to their body.
Your
so she said,
she
said, I'm going to ask you again, in the most loving way, are you okay? And I just remember having that moment of like, I can't hide anymore. Because at the end of the day, outward fat is outward fat, it is what it is. Visceral fat literally can be very dangerous to like your organs protection. What happens is my body was like, I don't know when you're gonna feed me and when you're not gonna feed me. So I have to hold on to this fat to protect your body because I don't know what you're gonna do. And so for me, getting to that place of like, one, being vulnerable enough to share it.
Yeah.
2, getting in a space to be real with myself about it. And 3, being in a space of like, okay, but now Morgan, how are you going to start to get in that process and heal? I share it now because I tell my ladies, I said, look, you may see what you saw, but you have no idea the journey of what it took to get to this point. So I get you when you're like, I'm mad, sad, angry, and I want to eat the pizza, the this, the that, and all of the things. Like, that's a real thing. Like, it's a real addiction.
I think we live in an era now where it's people are really into what they can see
For sure.
and not what they don't see.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between the weight that we can see and the visceral fat that you said that was essentially storing for the winter?
Yeah.
Because they didn't know when it would eat.
100%.
Yeah.
And you know, and again, I'm not a scientist, doctor,
No,
any of the things. So I'll
yeah.
speak from, you know,
Your experience.
my experience, and at least from that capacity. But it literally, we focus so much on the outside, right? We focus on the outside. We want the abs, we want the arms, we want the legs, we want the booty, we want all the things.
Yeah.
Especially at this big old age and all of the things, we often aren't, and let me take it back. I think now wellness is really starting to shift of like, but how do I actually feel? Like,
now it is, yes.
how do I actually feel on the inside? What is my energy like? Like, what does my nervous system feel like? Oftentimes people, and even from a visceral fat standpoint, your body is like in fight or flight. Your body is doing what it needs to do in order to protect you. When your body doesn't feel safe, it's not going to change and transform. Sometimes it's not that you're holding on to physical weight, you're holding on to life weight.
Yes.
Life weight that's not moving. And so oftentimes, and what we're even starting now to really put more into our programs and our classes and all the things is like, let's do things to get your body feeling safe and released, so then we can do the work to like break it down and build and shift and change. But if you're always coming in
Tight.
anxious and tight and upset and stressed, and you're not sleeping well, and you're not putting the right nutrition in your body, you can do all the workouts and all the things that you want to, but your body's like, I don't trust you, girl, so we're gonna hold on to all of this because I don't feel safe to actually be in a vulnerable position to actually even release what I know you're trying to let go of.
Yeah. Tell us about your road back, because you were exposed in private though.
Yeah.
So I appreciate her for pulling you to the side and
Yeah.
having a one-on-one, because I think it created a space where you can receive.
Yeah.
But then you had to do
The real work.
different, the real work.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was a roller coaster of a journey. A lot of it, to be really honest with you, was me being willing to face myself of like, I'm exposed now, but at the same time, like, okay, this is where you are. This is where you know that you want to be. How are we going to start to put these things into place? And so for me, it wasn't even just about doing more, it was actually doing less. It was finding the things that brought me peace. Journaling, even back then, and it's still such a huge part of my practice of like releasing and starting to tap back into like, where did some of these things come from? And it all goes back to this level of perfection of Morgan. And I think for me, that was the first turning point in this shift in the season of so much of my life, of starting slowly but surely to like pull down the layers of me that I think I had really unintentionally put up so that this was all that people saw, but instead really allowing them to just completely fall away so that I could get to who Morgan really is and who I truly am. Like, what is Morgan's truth? And so that was the journey across the board.
What is Morgan's truth now? Because at first it was perfect Morgan.
Yeah.
And that was a facade. That wasn't real.
Yeah.
But you've journeyed.
Yeah.
You're in a different space.
Yeah.
Who are you now?
Morgan is real, raw, crazy, all the things. I think I was someone, I think for a long time would try to put myself in different, like, I remember a friend told me once, she was like, you're that person that loves taking places because you're like a chameleon. No matter where I take you, you just know how to like mold in. And I knew she meant it as a compliment. But I remember having this moment of like, but that means that I'm blending in everywhere that I go in order to fit in, in order to get along, in order to whatever. Like, when does real Morgan going to be able to show up into a room? And honestly, it's different. There are days when I am like childlike and fun and goofy and silly and like maybe the life of the party. There's moments of me where I don't want to be around a single soul and I can be to myself, and whether it be just journal, sit, whatever the case may be. I can be the little ratchet turn up every now and then. I can have the different flows. And I think for me, it's just allowing myself to just be whoever and whatever in that moment feels real and true for me in a way that I don't think I always allowed myself to do.
Yeah, it sounds like you're all the things instead of just one thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's pivot. So you're in your business, you're in this wonderful space.
Yeah.
2025.
Yes.
And you take yet another pause.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a theme here in your story that every time it's time to do a shift, there's this pause that comes.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's outside of you. You can't control it.
Yeah.
But then this pause from 2025, you pause now.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about that time?
Yeah. It very recently was probably, I think I've really started getting these inklings probably like October-ish of 2025. Again, we have grown and do so many great things, not only inside of this physical space with the lab, but work that we're doing in like Chicago public school system with staff and with teachers and partnering with so many different things. But I was getting to this point where I remember I walked into the lab one day and I just stood there. I was completely by myself. And I was like, I don't know that this feels like us anymore. And I wasn't even going to say me. I mean us, meaning myself and the other partners that I have, the people in here. Like, we were just focusing on different things. You know what I mean? And it's like, it just didn't feel
cohesive.
It didn't feel cohesive. It was hard to like, and any entrepreneur knows, like, you know, the things that you can and get to do from a marketing standpoint, a social media standpoint, and all these things that really rev up a business. And it was like, I don't even feel inspired to do those things because I don't even know that I love what we're bringing people into. And it wasn't because it was bad. It was just, I think so much, things are in seasons, right? When you're not growing, you're dying. And we were growing internally. We were growing with even some of the practices that we were starting to put in place. We were growing in so many different ways. And for me, I knew that if we didn't take it wasn't just my decision. It's like we took a pause and said, you know what? Let's really take a pause for a moment. We've been on go mode for so long. Let's take a pause and say, and not only reflect within ourselves of like, what matters to us? What do we need as people, physically, mentally, nutritionally, spiritually? And not even tell each other, but then let's come back to the drawing board and say, hey, if I could have my ideal space, my ideal classes, my ideal things, these are the type of things that I would want because these are what I'm being called towards now. We came to the drawing board and we were all on different pages, but we found that cohesiveness and that collaboration, that excitement again, just like how I remember when we were first growing from in a park and building it together again. And that's really what this feels like.
Like the zeal is returning.
The zeal is returning. And like even now, like we still don't have it figured out. We're still trying to like work through new menu things and like we're readjusting some of like the class flows and like we're really reevaluating the way that we do certain programming and all of these type of things. But what I was reminded of is like when we first started the lab, we didn't lead with perfection and give this to people. We said, okay, this is what we're kind of doing. Let's build this as we go, but really make sure that it's intentional. And so that is what this feels like right now.
Yeah.
But there's shame in that because to me, pausing, or not shame, but the perception of what pause looks like. Pause looks like, I wonder what's going on back there.
It does.
Pause looks like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like there were aspects of, you know, we're in a different season in life and market. Like to make it through in business right now, it's not easy. There's so many challenges that like we didn't have to face at one point that now we do. The economics are different. The costs are different. Your bills are different, you know, like
your taxes
are different.
Yeah.
Like things shift. And so I said, if we're going to build something, the foundation has to feel right. And that's what the pause was. And I had to be willing to do that regardless of what it looked like from the outside, because we knew that the real transformation starts on the inside.
What did you do differently during this pause?
Yeah.
As opposed to the pauses that you did before?
really paused.
Okay. And what did that look like? Did you just not do anything?
Yeah, I mean, so no, I'm always gonna do so.
I was about to
There's
say,
still
Morgan,
gonna be a little.
I have never seen you just
No,
sit down and just be still.
It was more so listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my two words for this year are surrender and alignment.
Mhm.
I really want to co-create the way that I'm moving and doing, like with God. I was talking to, shout out, her name is Michi Watt. She has another phenomenal like program and flow out in Hazel Crest. She and I were talking. I said, I probably look like a crazy person because I'm literally in my mind like checking in like, all right, guys, this okay, cool. Like it's literally this just like fun co-creation of like just figuring out like what that is and being still.
Yeah.
Like you can hear more when you're still. There's clarity in stillness. And I think being still doesn't have to be a frozen. It can still be there is some movement. I started finding, my own workout flow again. I started finding like what feels good for Morgan, because if what feels good for Morgan probably will also feel good to other people. So learning and understanding more about what it means to like regulate your nervous system and have and release some of that anxiety. What does it feel like to find a morning flow so that you're starting your day with you before you're tapping into other people? What does it feel like to understand nutritionally what your body needs in different seasons? So being able to have that pause of exploration of pouring out to other people. Mm-hmm. And it really was probably more so a season of really finding and fueling Morgan again.
Yeah.
Because just like I tell my people, like when you're good, you have so much more to give to other people. And I don't think I was allowing Morgan to be good.
When did you open the doors back up to the
just recently. So February, whatever last Saturday was, 21st, something like that.
Okay. Oh, you fresh back.
We literally so we still kept classes going in capacity because, again, that's our community. That's our home space. That's our family. That's our keep it together.
As you think about your story and how you've evolved, do you think you're living and operating in your purpose and calling?
100%. And
what do you think that is?
I think my calling for me is being able to, number one, fuel and tap into my own growth and self so then I can be a conduit to help transform and take other people through the same thing. Working through, tragedy and grief and anything that you go through, those can be the things that either take you to one place or it can be the things that catapult you into something completely different. It literally is why this place is called Live and Believe. Mm-hmm. Like literally learning what it means to live. And living for you and can be very different for different people. It can be big, bright, bold, whatever. It can be small, it can be subtle, it can be creative, it can be whatever. But genuinely being able to unapologetically figuring out what life and living means to you, and then having that belief that the things that you want for yourself really are possible if you start to put them in place, if you start to put the right people around you, if you start to really cultivate that. And so for me, it's that. It's helping people really live physically, mentally, spiritually, nutritionally, finding safety in your body, and then believing that the things that you want for yourself are possible if you really tap in.
As we wind down the interview, what is like a word of advice or that either spoke to you that has helped you along your journey that you can give back to the audience, or just give them a solid leave behind? Because I always like to leave the audience with something tangible, because navigating grief, which I understand, it definitely ebbs and flows, and it plays very unfair. And then even dealing with perfectionism and your health and body images, and even pausing as an entrepreneur. I had to go from weekly to bi-weekly episodes, and it still kills me to this day. Yeah. But what can you leave behind to the audience just to get them over their own journeys?
I think the first thing you get to, it really, and I know we keep saying it, but it really is the pause. Mm-hmm. And pausing can be a long pause. It can be a short pause. It can literally be like stepping outside for a moment and just like taking a moment to say, all right, what's going on? And really being able to like feel and flow. And I think at the end of the day, it's really being able to tap into your truth and having people around you that cultivate that. I think for me, Perfect Morgan blocked up so much, and so nobody even knew how to be able to help and share and tap. And so when you can get to a place where you're like, yo, vulnerable here, open, this is what it is, this is who I am, this is all of those things, you then allow those gaps and spaces for God or whatever you believe in, for people to be able to fill in those space. And then life can feel not so heavy, not so burdensome, because it's not all about you. It's about you being able to have the people around you that can do the exact same thing. So I think just learning to be real, raw, honest, and truthful, so that you really can do the things that help you live and believe.
I love that. Morgan, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your stories with the Crossroads and Callings community. How can people plug into the lab, live and believe? What is the best way for them to come to the class, get a smoothie, see what's going on?
Yeah, so our website is www.liveandbelievewellness.com. Same thing on IG. And then you can also tap in with some of the things I have on personally on at Morgan Nicole Martin.
Yeah. Morgan has a wonderful story.
Thank you.
The question that still resonates with me is, how did you find these safe spaces? Because you created safety here.
Yeah.
But there was time that you needed safety for yourself.
Yeah.
How did you build that for you?
Number one, I think it's going back to really, we keep reiterating, but it's the pause.
Okay.
When you are in go mode, and especially as women, when we're operating in our masculine and we're like, we'll figure it out and we could take over the world and I got this and all of those things, you don't even have a moment to even catch your breath because you're just always in that capacity.
Yeah.
And so when you can find, and for me, my mornings are my sacred space. People will tell you, they'll literally say, you didn't do your morning routine this morning, did you? And I say, no. They'll be like, go and tap. And for me, that morning flow is number one, stillness. Whether that be breathing, whether that be meditation, whether that literally just be sitting. I'm a journaler, so I literally journal like every single morning, good, bad, ugly, anything that's on my mind and my heart. And then doing something that create some type of movement in your body. Sometimes, sure, maybe it's a workout. Other times, maybe it's just some stretches. Maybe it's just some, funny, whatever you need to do. Maybe it's putting on some music and just getting things out of your body. But that regulation, whether it be for 20 minutes or whether it be for an hour, literally for me sets the tone of my entire day. It almost allows me to be able to say, okay, Morgan, we're good. You're good. Now you can step out to the world and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, community, embrace the pause.
Embrace the pause.
That, if you don't take anything away from this message, embrace the pause, embrace stillness, regulate your nervous system.
Yes.
Embrace your grief, feel your feelings, and then be able to move forward. It was so many gems dropped.
Thank you.
I implore you guys to pour into Morgan the way she's poured into you. Send likes, comments. Talk about your own pauses and your own crossroad moments. We would love to hear from you. Crossroads and Callings is posted on YouTube and all podcasting platforms. Please like, subscribe, reach out to us. It's a collaborative community.
Yes.
And as always, please utilize your crossroads to get you to your calling.